It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
In 2014, yeah, right, exactly. I shook my head at him too.
Just listen to the words. What does it sound like?
Well, see, how I explained it was it's fucking, rather than watching each episode at once, it's like getting Netflix and watching everything all at one time. Whereas that's how...
It's a season set.
Yeah. So that's the only difference.
Well, that's a trade. And a trade paperback is a collection of...
I was about to get into that one too, but I was like, why bother?
Graphic novel is a self-contained story. Watchmen is what you...
300 would be a graphic novel.
300, that's a graphic novel.
It was never a comic book, it was just...
Watchmen...
So it's a long comic book.
No, a trade paperback is a collected story arc that was released in single comic book form, whereas the distinction being a graphic novel would be like Batman the Killing Joke, or that's kind of that was a one.
Would that be?
Comic, but
would that be like?
But it was big and it had.
But yeah.
And it had the card stock, so it's a graphic novel.
But 300, you seen the movie, right?
No.
Damn, man.
Is that the one with the 300
Spartans
people?
This is Sparta.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch that.
It's good.
It looks.
They made a sequel.
I know, it's out now.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until I was watching UFC. I saw it on the canvas, and I was like, I shook my head like.
That sounds like a UFC movie.
That's stupid. Yeah.
A bunch of naked dudes.
But comic books, yeah, I grew up, I read a lot of superhero shit when I was like, 88 to, like 8 to 10, 12, and then I got into image shit and, crazy collector and all that, and then, I don't know, it started, you get older, you start doing drugs in your teenage years, and
Nope.
Okay, well.
Just read more comics.
I still read trades and stuff, or I'll go buy like 5 issues of like a Sam Keith miniseries.
No,
or
I get it.
whatever.
No, it's hard.
But I'm not like I used to be.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I still have a fuck ton of back issues at my storage facility in Texas.
You're saying the storage facility I have?
A similar storage facility.
Similar one? Okay, cool.
Similar storage facility.
It's a good place.
That's why we do the show.
I don't read superhero shit no more though.
That's why we do the show
rarely.
the way we do it, is because it's not for, hey, this issue came out, because I don't give a fuck. And
yeah.
I'm so sick of Marvel and DC. I'm sort of sick of the I like this. I still like the superhero genre, but I like it when people fuck with it. That's why I read the independents, and they're not trying to shake things up every fucking 2 goddamn weeks. Ugh.
You haven't read Cerebus though?
No, it was
too daunting, or just not your thing?
It was too subculture for when I was reading, and now it's I don't know.
It's fucking
What's it about? I mean, why should I read it?
Oh, because it's like
all I knew was a gray pig.
It's the grandiosest, most amazing. I mean, it's a 300-page, 300-issue comic book that he set out to do from start to finish, and like the whole plan from I don't know whenever he began, like 77, was to make a 300-issue. Story about a character, and he would die, and he would get it done no matter how long it took. It started out being kind of like a Barry Windsor Smith influenced Conan ripoff, only instead of Conan, it's like Cerebus, and that's probably the first 25 issues. You want to look at him, and he's like he's a little aardvark and shit.
Yeah, he looks like the thing from.
It kind of like changed.
Is it like Howard the Duck, where he's a cartoon, but everyone else is drawn?
It's hard to explain because. It changes so much throughout the course of 300 issues. It goes from being a Conan ripoff to being like a political, tongue-in-cheek kind of character-driven story. And then there'll be like later on it gets real weird, and he'll start like referencing I don't know Oscar Wilde or various. It's just a weird comic.
It slowly goes more pretentious.
It gets way more pretentious. It gets way more pretentious. And then there's like like he becomes the Pope for a while.
I think I remember seeing it. Again, you'd always see him in collages.
It's a parody of religion and politics, basically.
It's a very independent book.
It's fucking dope. I mean, some people don't like it. I don't know. Because
Cerebus is the name of the 3-headed dog that protects Hades.
Is
in
it?
mythology.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that's another, and then he looks like a pig.
He's an aardvark.
He's an aardvark. So it never...
Never took.
No, he looks like elf and then half elf and half like the little...
he looks like Spider-Ham.
The thing from One Crazy Summer.
I had Spider-Ham issues. Motherfucking... Yeah, Cerebus is... It's like he's a lovable character.
I mean, even the fact that
He likes to get drunk and say I, and
You mean say
he
I?
has a love interest, and he pines after
I.
her. It's just epic, dude. It's just cool to read a comic book about a character that's written and drawn by the same guy throughout the entire run of, I don't know, 20 years or whatever.
I was gonna say it's over now, right?
It's over, yeah. I think it ended in like 90, somewhere in the early to mid 90s, maybe. I don't know.
See, it was on the same level of Bone, and I never read Bone.
See, Bone, I was the same fucking way. That's exactly what I'm reading right now. I got that fucking like big fat. I always couldn't make it past. I read the first book like 3 times, and because it was, whatever. It's so hyped up. It's like people would be like, "Bone's the greatest thing ever," and
I loved cartoon
like,
art, so I
kinda
loved
Disney.
the Bone characters, but I never.
It never stuck. Like I'd get through the first 6 issues, and I wouldn't ever go further than that. But now I'm like forcing myself to plow through it. It's okay.
Speaking of, I reread
Speaking of plow?
Identity Crisis.
Identity
Did you read that?
Crisis. I'm aware of it.
It came out in like 03.
Yeah, no,
It's so good.
that was when I was doing drugs and now reading comics.
Well, you can always go back.
But I can always go back.
They're printed for real.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I still want to read Marvels. There's a lot of things.
That's really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of
That
stuff
I
I
read as a
missed.
kid when it came out. My dad was a big comic.
And how old are you?
32.
Okay, 33. So
Yeah. My dad was a comic collector, so I learned how to read by reading comics.
right.
And I would just spend hours and hours asking him questions about continuity. And I would look it up. I always liked Marvel.
Continuity is very important.
Yeah. Not to Marvel or DC, but to us.
Right. I'm
I'm
not
still
going to go on a
over
wrestling
that.
tangent, although I was tempted for like half a second
Do what? Well, I would also ask him about. He raised me.
to go off. I've heard your podcast, so there's nothing you could tell me about wrestling that I don't already know.
Okay, that's because what I know is a collection of like what 4 years.
Right. No, I listened to the one you did with Draven.
Oh, okay.
And
Then I've
so-
exhausted it.
Yeah, right.
I was sort of upset by that episode to be able to talk about anything else.
You were upset you didn't talk about anything but
Yeah,
wrestling?
because the people who don't give a shit.
Right. No, that's why I'm like...
That's
let's
what's
not
hard
talk
about doing a
wrestling.
show that
Or feces, because
Shut
no one
up.
gives a shit about feces.
Ha ha ha.
And yet we always come back to talking about feces for some fucking reason.
well, Rusty goes with what he knows.
He does.
Yeah, dude, I know feces.
Tower 7, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He knows his shit.
I ended up talking about shit again. If you
You
can believe that.
can
I
believe
got
that.
back. I got talking about dog shit again even.
He did.
I got amped. I said from dog shit again. And it keeps on happening. It's these white people, man.
That show.
White people.
The show White People?
No, the show with the shit thing.
What shit thing?
Somebody not getting podcast at all.
Oh, yeah, the shit.
I don't think we're gonna have any cross listeners. So we got a game. I've got a game on the podcast.
I didn't make it through that podcast. I got halfway through.
But have you heard?
And I'm still going to finish it.
Have you heard us do the game podcast yet?
I have not.
Maybe
The
we
show
can-
I was listening to with him on it last,
do
we
it
were
on
talking
here.
about having a game show at the end. And I was like, I didn't make it past the first half yet, so I didn't make it to the game show part.
Well, podcast is a podcast within a podcast.
Okay.
You have 2 minutes. I give you a theme song, and then you show us what your version of a podcast would be. You can do it solo, or you can invite everybody else in the room in. But you get free reign. You're hosting the show.
A
for
2
2
minute
minutes.
podcast
Yeah, it's just
based on the vibe of the song you present.
If you want, or you can just do whatever you feel like.
Yeah, you don't have to go with the song. It's just
Like, you can have
To add a little bit of
Stefan's talk about things not related to poop
Or wrestling.
or wrestling.
yeah. The one chick's had a show she called "Shit I Hate." Another person had a game called "Mom Talk," "Pancake Talk," just whatever the fuck you want to do. But I gave this one comedian his round, and he immediately just goes through his bits. Which was like... First... So you do your 2 minute...
To be clear, I am not a comedian.
No, that's fine.
Nor am I an improviser.
We had non-performers.
So I probably wouldn't be a prime candidate for an episode of Podcast.
You could do it. Everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. A good host will help you.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Not me, man. Speaking of shitty hosts.
This shit is
So
worldwide.
after you do your round, the other person in the room gives you their iTunes review, quote unquote.
Okay.
Yeah, so 1 to 5 stars and a little blurb about what you thought, and that can be fun too. Well, Rusty does his round, and I go, okay, so-and-so, what's your iTunes review? He immediately goes into his bits. And at first I didn't realize it, and then once I did, I'm like, you know this isn't your turn yet, right? Like, no, you're just reviewing his. And he still didn't get it. So then I did his little themes, and he said something.
Was he out of bits when it was his turn?
Yeah, he repeated himself. Because he
Just
I
so
thought
can.
he was joking. Oh, so you'll edit this out.
Right.
Because I can edit shit if I don't have to.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And then he goes right into it. I was like, oh no, he
And
really
your shit's
expects
got
me
a
to edit
camera
this
on
out.
too.
No, we're not.
Not doing that now?
Not now because of some tech difficulties, but that'll get solved soon.
Okay.
But the point is...
Point is you don't like people doing bits and not being real on a podcast.
No. Even if you're being silly, I want it off the cuff, off the dome.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I got you.
This guy's like old, just out of it.
Oh, word.
Out of touch.
Yeah, even mine was a kind of...
Kind of canned.
Well, it was what I was bitching about. I was bitching about dogs the night before. And I was like, I'm going to bring it in. And I just fucking went off about dogs. It wasn't like... It was a conceptualized bit, but it wasn't like...
Right. Fleshed out.
Yeah, it wasn't
You were
like...
still-
This
Yeah,
guy's just word for word. I mean, these
Yeah.
are one-liners almost.
Yeah.
So I went to my doctor the other day. Let me tell you what my doctor said. Oh my god.
Okay. Okay.
Not like, so anyway, fuck these guys. You know,
Right.
you can just tell it's horrible and how...
Yeah, there's nothing worse. It really makes for... We figured out pretty early on that rehashing conversations that we thought were funny when there was nothing being taped, just that were entertaining to us. To do it a second time is always a bad idea.
That's why I hate, like, during a break
A
sometimes.
fucking horrible idea.
I'll just be silent when we're taking a break because I don't want to waste any...
Yeah, no, our friendship has become...
Save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast. Like, when we're on the phone, we're like, I want to tell you, no, I'll see you tomorrow. You know, like, that's just how it goes, because that's...
Don't want to waste the good shit, man.
But it's also the purpose of the podcast.
Well, because but we have to catch up and talk shit, and it's just like...
Well, it's the purpose. I mean, like, Smodcast
There's nothing being
was
forced.
only created so that Kevin Smith and Scott Mosher would have a reason to hang out because he didn't feel like they were hanging out anymore. And there's other shows, too, that started off with just like, this gives... Well, my show back home, my friends would never get together on a weekly basis and have as much fun or do the things that I would set up for us to do if I wasn't doing it. And, in fact, I know they haven't since I left. So it's like, yeah.
Podcast
Podcast
brings
brings people together. It's unity.
It is. It's a good, happy time. There's... Well, and then the other... What's that one? I don't know. I was going to say...
Podcast?
Podcast. The one with Jay and Silent Bob. That one's just so fucking... Dude would fucking...
Jay and
Silent Bob get old. So he
yeah.
just fucking stopped fucking doing drugs and shit.
I listened to one
That's
episode
why-
because Mick Foley was on it, and I think his wife was on it.
Oh, yeah,
Not
yeah.
Mick Foley's wife, but Kevin
Smith's
Smith's
wife.
maybe?
Oh, yeah. I like when she's on.
She's like a
Jen.
famous actress or something?
No.
Okay.
She was in...
She's in his movies from
Some
time
of
to
them,
time,
yeah.
but her real vocation before they got together was she was a journalist, an entertainment journalist.
Oh, okay.
That's how they met.
Okay.
He was still pushing Clerks. They met. They fucked. She got pregnant. They got married.
Okay. That's how it goes.
Jen Schwabach. But she's cool.
I like
Yeah,
I like
that's
when she
right.
comes on.
Yeah, Mick Foley seemed to really like her, so she's cool in my book.
You can see her.
Not to bring it back to wrestling.
You can see
I
her.
would never do that.
Her bits.
Yeah, because...
There was a Playboy spread with directors'
Oh, her
wives.
bits. Okay, I thought it was...
Oh, they're spread.
No.
No, her bits.
So
Her bits.
Her lady bits.
Her somewhat. I think what it is she's on the roof of the Daily Planet as Lois Lane. She's hugging a Superman.
Is she pretty hot?
And her skirt blows. You know.
Yeah, she was... Did you see... what's that? The one... Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
I've seen them all.
Great. Well, there's the 3 chicks who are like the bad chicks or
Yeah,
whatever. And
the leather suits.
The leather suit chicks.
See, I
and she
didn't
was
like
one
that
of
movie
those.
very much.
Okay, what about Clerks 2?
What?
Did you see Clerks 2?
Oh, yeah.
See, I used to love Kevin Smith movies, and when it's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2, there came a point where I did not like his movies anymore. I still love Mallrats.
Oh, Mallrats.
I still love Clerks. I love Mallrats the best because the dialogue is great, but...
It's between Chasing Amy, though, I'm not.
Chasing Amy's not bad.
I've never been a fan of the ending.
But all the weird movies he's made, like... it's just...
The point isn't that you like it, but do you remember?
What I'm trying to say is I don't remember because that movie to me was
because
like...
you don't like it.
Yeah, but I watched it.
She was Dante's fiance, the one that was wearing the T-shirt and on the swing set, blonde
With the big clip.
See, no.
Okay.
My brain.
I liked Clerks
My
too.
brain erased that movie as soon as I saw it. Like many movies.
He's working on Clerks 3.
He stopped production on it, and he's working on the
He finished Tusk,
Tusk. He finished that?
and it's coming out in the fall.
Oh, okay.
So I just got caught up on Smodcast.
The hippo one? Or is it a
Walrus.
hippo? Walrus?
It's the Tusk.
Oh, walrus. Those are the same thing.
I think it would be called Hungry.
Hungry Walrus?
If it was about hippos, I'm saying it would be called Hungry. I got oversaturated with Kevin Smith podcasts. God damn.
He has plenty. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And then all his friends have them,
And what I'm enjoying about Loveline with Corolla, because I stopped listening to Corolla too, is I feel like, I don't think he's changed. He sounds exactly the same in 1996 that he does now.
Oh yeah.
But there's less people sucking his dick around him. You know what I'm saying? Like on Loveline 1996, he's not the fucking head honcho. At the Ace Podcast Network, he's the boss.
So you prefer the classic episodes for that?
Yeah. When people give him shit every now and then.
Okay.
And he won't just he doesn't have time to go on his little rants about everybody else isn't doing their job except for him. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the space to do that. He's just being Corolla.
I've only heard Loveline like in a car trip, cross country, because it came on whatever radio station I could pick up. You know what I'm saying?
It's good.
Yeah.
Like I know what it is and I get it. Like and it's definitely interesting, but
I was working at middle school and high school and shit,
very,
dude,
very,
every night.
very small amount of Loveline.
I would you can go back. It's worth listening to. I think.
Podcasts, you know how it is. You got your weird interests, and there's always content being thrown at you. And granted, there's a lot of bullshit you got to do every day, so there's plenty of time to listen to podcasts while doing the things you don't want to fucking do. But
which ones do you listen to?
Again, I hate to bring up wrestling, but most podcasts, I know, but that's what I always do, and I'm like, it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? But I listen to a lot of like pro wrestling podcasts. Like I listen, which there's a lot right now. They're coming out like a motherfucker. It's like, I don't know, everybody's having a wrestling podcast. So there's like the Jim Ross Report now. There's Talk is Jericho. There's Steve Austin twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Cabana Art of Wrestling, which is my favorite podcast by far.
I like him.
I've been listening to Jeff Garland in Conversation, which he only did for a year, but I caught on late, so I'm plowing through those.
Yeah, I just found out about that.
And then I listen to his podcast, and I
awesome.
occasionally listen to your podcast as well. I think that covers them all.
Yeah,
I got so far behind I had to strip mine down.
Oh, Joe Rogan. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. I knew I was going to get some heat when I said that, dude.
I don't hate him.
A lot of people do, though.
I see the opposite. Everybody even my favorite podcast loves him.
My old lady hates him.
He's just crazy and he's alpha. And when he first started doing a podcast, I was listening and I was just like, "You're out of your goddamn. You are crazy."
Yeah, but he has some interesting guests, and I'm an MMA fan, so I like to see. Yeah, I like. It's interesting to me to hear like fighters come on and stuff like that. But even that Bitcoin one, that was fucking great.
Yeah, dude. They're gonna try to get him back on. They said.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Because that was right after it that all that shit went down, and it was that, like when the Bitcoin thing went away, and it was that same thing with. There was something else that was like right after they had an episode on it, all the shit went down. I don't remember what the fuck
the
it was.
Bitcoin like dropped or something?
Yeah, dude, Bitcoin's fucking done.
Yeah, dead in the water?
Yeah, dude.
100%?
Yeah.
Glad I didn't go buy an expensive computer after listening to that podcast a month after it came out.
Dude, yeah, that shit fucking out like right after it, man.
I think
I'm like,
someone was
Bitcoins.
It's imaginary money, and I think someone just started printing more imaginary money, which fucked up the whole system.
Yeah.
Other faux currencies, you mean?
He started inflating the Bitcoin coin market.
But as he explained it was impossible to inflate the Bitcoin.
Well, obviously that guy was wrong.
No, yeah, there's only like a certain like 200,000 Bitcoins, and you had like this fraction of Bitcoins.
Yeah, it was a mathematical equation.
Yeah, and so like once that was all it, that was
they
it.
would stop being made.
Yeah.
But there's other cryptocurrencies
and then
that
there's
are
gonna
not
be
Bitcoin
something else
that started
new.
to surface, so maybe that won't add it. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah,
I think it just got shut down.
I live in a cave. Like, I get my news from like third or fourth party sources, usually like people like Ben. So, you know, like
I'm a great person to news
I was
source,
about
man.
to start looking into it, but I wasn't going to spend a ton of money, just a little bit.
the Rogan podcast was really interesting. I'll say that. You know, the one with the Bitcoin guy.
Yeah.
But then my girlfriend, who's like the most up on the news person I know, like complete opposite of me, typical Reedy. Fucking, she told me what you just told me, basically, that it all went to shit. So
Yeah, but I mean, they're just gonna. I think it was someone like it got too much fucking recognition, and they're like, dude, we can't have this shit going on.
I bet Rogan fucked it
Someone
up.
up there, yeah. Well, cause okay, so the other one was some guy that he ended up coming. He went into hiding because of something happened. He ended up in Oregon, and it was like maybe a year ago, and he. I don't think he was. He was maybe there was some whistleblower or something, and I don't remember who he was. But I think that's what happened. It was like right after that he fucking went into hiding. He went. Oh, he's the guy who the drug, not the fucking. Oh fuck, what's that stuff called?
Is he a drug guy or a whistleblower?
No, he's the guy. Fuck, what's
Cartels?
that? No, the stuff, the synthetic stuff.
Synthetic
Oh,
stuff.
crocodile?
No, not the crocodile. The other.
Crocodile?
The other
Spice?
stuff. No, not Spice.
Does that even exist outside of a Dune book?
Spice?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that shit people be smoking. Okay.
No, that made people bite
Yeah,
their
it's got
face off.
chemicals in it. Okay, I know what you're
That
talking
bite
about.
their face off. What was that
Oh,
stuff?
bath salts.
Bath salts.
He was one of those bath salt guys, I think.
Okay.
They created it?
Or something like that. He was around that time, and he ended up
Fucking
In
bath
Oregon.
salts.
in Oregon. And like, it was like right after he did the Joe Rogan podcast. And then he went on the fucking run, and then he got caught going, and he went to some other country. I fucking wish I remember who that was. But
Yeah, me too.
What
I
does that
go
have to do with Bitcoin?
listen to the podcast.
because it was because the same thing happened, like right after they did the Joe Rogan podcast, the shit fucking hit the fan.
See, that's why you don't want to say too much on a podcast.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.